There is nothing wrong with your internet. Do not attempt to adjust your settings. We are controlling the podcast. We control the squealing and the screams. We can make your heart flutter, your eyes blur from tears, or sharpen your mind to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit back. We are in control of what you hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your settings. You are about to experience the awe and mystery known as the female mind. You are now entering the Fangirl Zone.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Fangirl Zone. I am Sean, Fangirl S. Today we are talking Handmaid's Tale. So joining me as always is Miss Jennifer. Hello.
Hello everyone.
And for this episode, episode 9, The Bridge, we have a special guest joining us all the way from the Nerd Element, Miss Michelle. Hello, welcome.
Hey, hi guys.
So, Michelle just rewatched. She's probably got this the freshest in her head. And this episode was kind of crazy. And I'm going to give the little synopsis and then we'll kind of jump into it. So we have Offred embarking on a dangerous mission for the Resistance. Janine moves to a new posting and Serena Joy suspects the commander's infidelity. So there was a lot happening, but Michelle was pointing out that obviously you've watched this so you know what's happening, but the actual portion that consists of the bridge is only in the last, what did you say, Michelle? Like 13 minutes of the episode?
Yeah. And it's not even the last whole 13 minutes, because after that, you know,
scene, yeah.
Yeah, there's another couple more scenes, so, yeah.
Which is weird, because the weight of that scene makes it feel like it's almost the whole show, which obviously we know it's not. But Jennifer, you had a thought of that on that too.
So yeah, I rewatched it again, and I'm like, wow, the bridge scene is like super shorter than I remember it being because that scene's so intense. But then I got to thinking, what if this whole show, or this whole episode is about metaphorical bridges? The bridge that she goes with the Resistance to get that package from Jezebel's, and the bridge of the handmaidens taking crazy Janine from her old family to her new family because they're all lined up there as a bridge, almost for her to walk into the van. And then you see Serena bursting into the commander's office later, and that's kind of a bridge back into the men's world that she hasn't had access to in such a long time, and she didn't look happy to see what she found there. So I mean, I see a lot of bridges that could be symbolic bridges in this episode, but man, that scene on the actual bridge, holy crap! Yeah, it took over the whole episode.
Alright, so let's start from the beginning. Now we have Warren's daughter, Charlotte, or she has a different name.
Angela.
That's the official name, which, wow, I don't know, Janine just did not want to have that happen. But she's being christened, and this is the official, basically, handing over of the child, and the handmaid will be sent somewhere else. Now, what did you guys think about this? Because obviously we know Janine's a little, like, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, she like, goes to give the baby and then kind of pulls the baby back. And then you have Aunt Lydia, you know, kind of, like, coaxing her to it. And even the commander and his wife are like, oh, we'll take great care of her. I mean, how did you feel? Because she looked really like she was about to snap right there. Michelle, what did you think?
I think she's always about to snap, but that's neither here nor there. Janine is not the sharpest tool in the shed. But I need to put this disclosure. This whole world angers me.
As it should.
Yeah, it's supposed to, like, get you kind of riled up so that we don't ever end up here. And yet, I mean,
we're headed there.
We've talked about it, that there's a whole movement of people who do want to do this, which it does kind of confuse me.
Hey, just in case, I am wearing red. It is my color.
And I am, and not all religious people are like this. I'll put this out there too, because I'm a Christian, and y'all know me, I'm not like this.
Wow, if you are, you're really undercover with that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm not just like, yeah, because me and Sean, we can talk about it all the time. I mean, me and edit that. Me and Lana talks about it all the time. She's gonna be so bad if she hears this. But yeah, you had, just to go back, first of all, from the wives to the handmaidens, they all have something to be upset about. The handmaiden means that I have to lay here, have a baby for you, and just give it up. I have to go through labor. I have to go through the whole process, and
biologically, that is the handmaid's child.
Yes.
Yes. That is my child. This is my blood. And then on the wife, I gotta watch you procreate this child with a woman. And if you're supposed to be a religious sect, that should be against the rules.
Yeah, you don't want to see your husband having sex with someone else. They base it around the whole Jacobean, ceremony thing, and she says, go unto my handmaid, and we'll make it a ceremony, we'll make it sound good, we'll get the wife's total buy-in. And then she has to feed that child for a certain period of time, Janine does, and the thing I noticed when she was handing the baby over and she got reluctant, she's like, almost like this woman has no idea how to take care of this child.
Exactly.
You have to burp her or she'll spit it all up and things like that. Janine clearly does not trust the wife.
I wouldn't either.
I don't either. And after seeing the way she is with her throughout the rest of the episode, where they're watching Janine being taken away and the baby doesn't want to stop crying, and Serena Joy's like, oh, you want me to, help you? And, if you just do, I know what's best for my child. And I'm just like, what a bitch.
Right. Because everybody and again, I don't have kids. So in my opinion, everybody that I know who has kids, I'll put it that way, always does need help with something, especially with their first child, because it can be really overwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
And,
totally.
I mean, I feel like even though Serena doesn't have a kid, I'm assuming she grew up around siblings, where she's like,
she may
here
have
I can help.
Family.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, Janine's upset, and they've got to be able to understand that. Even when Aunt Lydia is in the background kind of like, doing the little head nod, like, just reassure her you'll do everything, yada, yada. And like I said, we know Janine kind of went over because she came in super tough, but they broke her that first day. Like, seriously broke her mental state. And so
they regressed her even more with the rape blaming. Right. When she was raped as a kid, and I believe her mother had her have an abortion or something like that. Yeah. And like, whose fault was it? Hers. And so they've totally just, in a world gone mad, she's the craziest one.
Right. It's like, totally. We may all be a little mad here, but she is totally off her rocker. But that's what I found interesting too, because then as they leave and there's the ceremony with all the handmaids lined up, and she's like off to the truck, and it seems like she doesn't even realize, because she's like, bye, bye.
He's coming.
Right.
Her brain has shut off from that point.
Completely, yes. And
in the real world.
Well, I feel bad because, what we've seen and what she has said, I feel are two different things. Now, obviously, she has bought into this, like, her commander is going to come for her because he lied to her to such an extent, which I feel like he had to know she was so fragile, like, mentally, that this was going to put her completely over the edge. And, she even hugs Offred, and she's like, he's coming, I know. And even when Offred does the kind of warning question to Aunt Lydia.
Do you think she's alright?
Right, and then Aunt Lydia's like, she's tougher than you think. And I was really surprised with that, because if this has been, Jennifer, I think we said we're looking at 3 years' time?
Yeah. I believe so.
That she would have to be able to start seeing when you have one of the girls about to break. Because I know Janine's not the first one.
Yeah,
she's not. She's not. And but they're in denial because of that world that they're in.
I still need to know, and I hope, beyond hope, that in season 2, they give us something how the ants became ants.
Yes, how did the Marthas become Marthas, the aunts become aunts? How I want to know that.
We pretty much figured out.
Yeah, I want to hear about that. And I was trying to count how many handmaids there are, and I don't know if there are possibly more in other territories or what have you, but in our current territory, which I think is near Boston, maybe. Mm-hmm. I think we figured out, I counted 48 handmaids standing in that line, plus Crazy Janine. So with Moira having escaped, that means that Red Center would have had about 50.
See, and I think when we went back to episode 1, when I started rewatching that with my husband, I thought I counted about 60. So I'm wondering if some have been moved. I'm assuming there's several. Like all over, because obviously they're not shipping them from Boston to Cali to Florida.
Right.
Yeah. So, because I really find it hard to believe that there's only about 60 fertile women in the whole country. So I'm sure that they're like moving around, possibly, they could have some having kids or.
It's interesting. Like I'm always in rebel mode that's what y'all think about. When I saw the 48, 60 or whatever handmaids, I was like, y'all can't get together and just run as a group and just overpower,
we had Auckland that ran off with the car. So there's another one.
Yeah.
But, there's definitely more of them than there are of the other people at sometimes. But the other people have the guns.
I know, but I'd be thinking, sacrifice for the team.
Take one for the team, right? And we do see a little bit of that later on, and I don't want to spoil it, but I will say that a lot of this episode was not in the book.
Oh, okay.
And in the book, Crazy Janine's Angela turns out to be defective.
Really?
There was nothing wrong with it. It was sick. They don't know why, and I don't know what happened to the baby. If it just sounded like they kind of it was an unbaby and it was like shipped off to the colonies to die. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
That's what it sounded like in the book, and I'm like, what a cruel world where if a child is born with a disability or some kind of defect, that it has no value in society. And that made me really, and then I wondered, maybe the wife didn't take care of it and it became a sickly baby because we kind of see her not having the best parenting skills and maybe it was her fault. I don't know, but, a lot of this episode is not in the book, but I am glad that they did give us this perspective because it adds to the world and enriches the world. And I want more Handmaid's Tale. I want to know more about Gilead. Gilead, and I want to know more about how the order of things and what happened and how it happened. So I'm ready for season 2.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna need more because I remember when I was about to read the book because I saw the movie from the 90s, but I didn't read the book. But I read up on the book and I was like, oh, so it really didn't have an ending. You don't know what's going on.
Right.
It's just you have to guess. And the movie was kind of like that too. And I was like, no. And so I'm happy with the series. I need y'all to.
Oh yeah.
Just leave where Miss Atwood left off. Give us some closure,
Just give us more.
Yeah. So I do want to know how, like you say, all the aunts and how these people get chosen and how they become what they become.
Yeah, it's a screening process for all of this,
Now, there's going to be a little bit different because it's also the book was written back in a time where, I'm African American, so I couldn't have been a handmaiden.
The original one, it was Make America White Again, which is completely wrong.
So the series is not going to do that. There's going to be, whatever they'll have. But so I would like to see how the show would decide who could be what and what could be what because it was different reasons when the book was written. So it'd be nice to see what the writers do with these stories.
Well, we did talk about that previously too, that if you noticed all the commanders were just older white men.
Old white guys, yeah.
Yeah.
So, interesting. Okay, wait. Bring it back now. I do want to talk a second about when we're seeing Janine get on the van to be taken to her next post. You have Serena Joy, and you have the baby's mom, whose name escapes me. Somebody help me out.
I don't know. I just call her the bitch.
That's a good name for her. I like that.
She was kind of evil. Like, you can see her dressing up like a total witch on Halloween and not needing a whole lot of makeup. Just putting that.
We'll call her Bitch Warren.
Okay. But, and like you said, you know, the baby was crying, Serena's trying to help, and all of a sudden she snaps at Serena.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, everybody knows what happens to your first handmaid. The men don't change. And it's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So, because last episode, Jezebel's, that came into play, does everybody unofficially know that the commanders take people to Jezebel's?
That they like to play games with the handmaids. I think it's
men will be men, you mean? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting that she's throwing that out there, because it's like...
Yeah. I think it goes back to one of the first episodes where they're, you know, having the birthing ceremony, and they're all kind of, you know, snacking and talking. Well, they're all sluts, you know. And it's probably because of things like this where you have commanders take advantage of crazy people like Crazy Janine, and you have the commanders dressing their handmaids up and taking them out to Jezebel's for a spin and stuff like that. And it kind of insinuated that the last handmaid at the Waterford house, there was a big affair between the two of them.
Okay.
And that's
what I got.
And that she had been to Jezebel's, and she had been having this illicit affair where things, you know, got carried away, and she ended up hanging herself. And
yeah, that's what I got too.
And since women can't read, you know, there's not really TV or, you know, anything for the women to do other than knit or garden. I can only imagine that gossiping about the other wives behind each other's back would be the main source of entertainment. So, of course, everyone knows.
But let's be honest, if you have a society like what we're seeing, and you have the women who are all supposed to be the higher up money people, basically, I'm saying that in quotes, you know they're all going to be talking about each other anyway.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, so that's it. Now, okay, just because I'm having kind of a weird moment, I don't want to screw it up, is this the one where they're walking the baby in a stroller?
They have she does that later in the episode.
Okay, so that does happen. That's what I want to ask. So, when they're walking, like, later, and Serena is like, shouldn't you cover the baby up? I'm kind of sticking with one group of people right now, sorry guys. Shouldn't you cover the baby up? She's like, oh, she's fine. And going back to what Jennifer said then, could it be that she was, like, so irritated with everything that she didn't care about, like, taking care of the baby?
Maybe she didn't even want a child. Maybe the society forced her into parenthood. Not everyone wants to be a parent, and that's okay. But in this society, if you're married to one of the superior men, you're going to raise a child as a wife. And
Now,
just...
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
What I don't know, and you might have already discussed this, the wives cannot have children. So, like, do the commanders pick, I can't remember, do they pick barren women on purpose? Like, why can't a pretty young woman who can have children be married to someone?
Well, see, that, we kind of touched on that, and they touch on it, oh my gosh, I don't even remember which episode now, when she goes to the doctor. That it's not always the women.
The woman's fault. Yeah. Most of the men are...
True, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so,
I
mean, it could be,
that.
Serena Joy may well be able to have kids, just not with, you know, Waterford. So I thought it was interesting, though, when they were going for the walk, that they have a guard with them. And one of the Marthas is like, oh, look, is this the baby? And then all of a sudden, we have Warren's wife, like, you know, perk up, like, oh, yes, isn't she beautiful? Blah, blah, blah. And then next thing you know, it's like, move along, don't touch baby. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they're very, very overprotective. Oh my gosh, I just had a crackpot theory of epic proportions.
Uh-oh. Put on your tinfoil hat, Michelle. Let's go for this.
Okay, so we see in the episode where they have the big event with the Mexican ambassador, and we see the commander and Serena Joy kind of break, and they do have sex with one another. So we know that Serena has some kind of relationship with Nick in which she trusts him enough to have taken offered to her in order to try to get, her pregnant.
Mm.
What if Serena Joy ends up pregnant and says, "Oh, it's a blessed miracle and it's yours"?
Well,
Oh my gosh, what would happen?
What a twist that would be, and it turns out to be Nick's.
that would be crazy.
Oh.
Like,
Crackpot theory.
and like, what would you do with that baby? Oh, I'm just.
Right, because that's what's really different. You said they're not allowed to even have sex anymore once it's deemed
Right.
that she can't have a baby.
Right. So what would happen even to Serena and the commander in this world? Well, how did she get pregnant? Is she going to claim that she was raped? I mean, are they going to admit that they broke down and had sex? Is that allowed in this world? I don't know.
This world is crazy. I
Right?
mean, I'm just
when
like,
husband and wife can't even have sex together.
so like, you can't enjoy time with your husband for religious reasons? What in the world?
I thought the whole purpose of marriage was to honor and cherish and love one
Exactly.
another. And it's not just solely for procreation. I mean, yes, that's one of the reasons people do get married, but still.
Well, that's what marriage is about. That's not what the sex is about. Because according to the Bible, at some point, and Monty Python, every sperm is sacred. So,
Yeah, every sperm is sacred. Yeah.
alright, let's bring it back. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. We're chasing the squirrels, guys. Sorry. Let's bring it back to poor Janine, who is now given to Daniel. And so she's of Daniel. Now, I felt really bad for Daniel's wife in this situation,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like this may be the first handmaiden they have gotten.
Yeah.
Because she seemed really excited and nervous, and she's like, I'm nervous too, and I totally understand, this is something new for both of us. And I'm like, wait, is this not something that they've all had a chance to do then?
Yeah, I don't
think so. Because there's only so many handmaidens.
Right.
Yeah, but it did.
And
if we're looking at 48, I didn't think there was that many commanders. At least that's not what we see later.
And lower ranking men do get assigned handmaids as well if they don't have Akana wives who are fertile.
Oh, so it may just take time before they get
Yeah,
one.
I mean, you just kind of have to go through the rotation, and that's why you only get a specific amount of time at each posting, I think, is how it works. I don't know.
It's really creepy, too, with saying it that way. It's like, yeah, they have a rotation. It's like,
A
rotation of these women who are basically being raped every month, which is, like, horrible. But
we do get the one handmaid that was kind of, hey, my life is better.
right.
She's like, I want in on May Day. And Offred's like, what do you mean I want in on May Day? Well, we need you to go back to Jezebel's and pick up a package. And off Daniel, she's got a sweet new posting with a nice new mistress and a huge house. And that was a nice house. But she's still like, in spite of herself, because she thinks Warren's supposed to be coming for her, she shouldn't be moving along, and she was going to be a family with her baby. She breaks during the ceremony and is hovering in the corner.
I was feeling so horrible for poor Janine. Like, I think I started to cry in this moment because seeing her just freak out and hide in the corner, and even the commander and his wife are kind of like, what the heck is happening?
We got a crazy one.
Well, I mean, like I said, it seemed like this might have been the first time, so I felt really bad for Daniel's wife.
It's almost like they didn't know if this was normal or not.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't.
But then, when she, whispers, no, he's coming, I should wait downstairs, oh, this is so far away. That should have been little triggers like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Although Daniel's wife thought, oh yeah, he's coming in the room, we're doing this here, she's like, I felt like she was just going to be blissfully ignorant because she thought Janine was totally cool with it because they believe, Lydia and everybody else, that these girls know what they're doing. Yes.
Yeah.
it was kind of rough. So we have, yes, like you said, Offred actually finding a way to get in with Mayday. And they're like,
she is the one waiting for the commander this time.
Yeah, I was
her summoning him, and she knows she has sway with him to ask to go out again, and he's moved and actually says, well, maybe we can go back there sometime tonight. And then you see the look on Offred's face, and she's like, yes.
Yeah, and then this was kind of creepy because she's like, oh, can we go have a drink? And he's like, maybe after. It's like, oh. Like, I felt...
I did that, too. I was like, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, I need a shower. I feel dirty.
Before we do this, I need a drink.
Right?
Because this is not, I mean, yeah, I do it at the house, but it's like a controlled environment. Your wife is there. I gotta act like I enjoy it.
And be totally naked, and yeah.
Except on the fact that Offred wants to go to the bar for something, and he warns Waterford to be careful. So whose side is he really on here is what I want to know.
Yeah, Nick is, like, I know we've talked about this a couple times, and it's so confusing the way Nick is, especially after we see his background in the last episode. It's like, is he one that wants to be with June? Does he not? Does he want to, like, bust Waterford? Does he want to try to make his own name and somehow move up? I don't know.
And he's had other affairs with, it seems like he's had affairs with some of the Marthas that are working at Jezebel's.
Right. And that was confusing. Right. And then even, was it this one, I believe, that, he's talking to that Martha, which I don't think we got her name. But she's like, oh, you're into that handmaid, huh? You better be careful. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, just shut up and eat. They're watching.
Yeah, she had made him some special pasta or something. So, okay, Offred fakes liking sex with the commander. She's trying to be believable.
Yeah, that was awkward too, by the way.
Yeah, and then the commander says that he isn't dumb and he knows she wanted to come back here. And she's like, oh my God, I'm caught. In comes Moira, and my mouth just dropped open. I'm like, oh my God, he thought she wanted a three-way with her friend. Please do not let this happen. No.
Right. And then she's like, yeah, no, not like that.
I'm so glad she did that too. I was like, yes, don't be too scared to speak up.
Yeah.
And then he drops the mother of all bombs that, oh, I've slept with Ruby before. I'm going to go rinse off while you guys catch up. And I'm like, oh, shit.
I was worried, but he didn't know her real name.
Yeah.
So I was happy with that.
Yes.
But just watching this exchange and then how Moira's like trying to tell her, no, you're not getting out. We're never getting out. The only way
it's too dangerous.
And I'm like, what are you doing? And then I love that June, aka Offred, was like, you know what? I had to get through all the crap that I was getting through knowing that you wouldn't take this shit. And thinking that you were dead.
Yep.
And just the fact that she kind of stood up to her, and I know that kind of hurt both of them, but I think that was the slap in the face that Moira needed.
Yeah, she says, I want you to fight. I want you to be who I know you used to be. Yeah. And it kind of hit Moira hard, and she leaves kind of upset, but in the end, we figure out that little pep talk helped quite a bit. So.
Right. Yeah, because, she's not going to get the package. It could be anything. What are you going to do? And it's like, and I'm thinking, how the hell are you going to sneak anything back anyway?
Yeah, I mean, you gonna like keister that? I mean,
you don't know how big the package is, so that should be interesting. It's like,
yeah, and I should make a note in the book, the outfit that he takes her the Jezebel's in, and it's only the one time, so this is like completely new content too. It is kind of like a showgirl with feathers, kind of like Vegas outfit that Offred wears, so there's no way in hell she could have gotten a package in that. At least the outfit that she is wearing in the show is a little bit of a dress that she could, but I mean, that was an awfully big package. I don't know what she would have put.
Yeah, it wouldn't have happened.
Unless Nick was going to carry it. I don't know.
Yeah, like we think Nick's on our side right now. I'm not so sure right now.
I don't know.
Yeah, with Nick, I don't know. And yeah, she didn't know what she was getting, so she just thought she was probably going to do something with the package, and she's just starting this. She's in over her head.
That's true.
Yeah, she doesn't know exactly what to expect. And you see Nick back there talking to some of the Marthas, and she says, the girls at Jezebel's aren't good for rebellion. They get fucked or fucked up, and the Martha just get, and that's when she guesses that Nick's into Offred and tells him, he's got to be careful. And that just kind of like, that statement kind of stopped me. And that, like, you have this strong woman, Moira, who's been so beaten down, and now you kind of understand why in that one statement.
It's really sad just seeing all that. And, okay, I do need to back up just like a tiny bit.
That's right.
Talk about the weird sex scene and how uncomfortable it was, because I just need to ask your opinion for you too. Did she not look just bored out of her mind?
Yes, she did.
Compared to how she is with Nick, she's just like, oh dear God, please just let him do his business and let's be done with this.
Right.
And have a drink at the bar.
And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, you don't have to be quiet here. And then she's gotta like kind of fake it. It's like, oh yeah.
I would have been so salty and sarcastic. I would have been screaming like, yes!
Well, what's so funny is that, and men are so blind, because she took a moment before she answered. After he said, you don't have to be quiet here, she just sat there and looked at the sky like, I guess I better answer him. Yeah, okay, I'll remember that for next time. I'm like, he's an idiot.
I think he is, at least in his mind, believing so much that she is the handmaid, and it's beaten into her head that she cannot relax.
Yeah, and this is a power trip for him.
Right.
This is one big power trip.
Yes, the fact that he gets to see her naked and just, it's not very sterile.
Yeah, dress her up as pretty as he wants, parade her around like a nice little piece of candy in front of the other commanders, and then actually get to have real sex with her. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a point. Yeah. He's blinded.
He's just drunk on his own power at this point. Meanwhile, we have Serena back at home, who's clearly upset. And I wonder why. She probably guesses that he's taking Offred to Jezebel's or doing something inappropriate, because men don't change, as, Bitch Warren said earlier. And so she's kind of, in the kitchen looking for something, and Rita comes in and knows she's looking for some alcohol. She's like, oh, here, the good stuff's under here.
Yeah, I'm looking for tea. She's like,
yeah, no, you're not, girlfriend, you are not looking for tea. You're looking for the hard, cold alcohol. I got it right here. And so they have a drink together, and we find out that Rita lost a child, in the war when he was 19, and Serena Joy is kind of, taken aback by that. She says, I'm humbled by your son's sacrifice. And I thought that was kind of a sobering moment where she's really realizing that not only has she helped create this world, she's contributed to not only the death of all of the government, but like innocent children. Yeah, kids, innocent children have been sacrificed to this cause.
And, you very well could have killed her husband, and not her personally, obviously, but Rita's husband could have been killed in the uprising, and Rita's just not mentioning anything.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the Marthas and the aunts are people who don't have, maybe their husbands passed on, or they weren't married and they're older ladies, or they don't have any male relatives that are old enough to oversee them, since women have to, need oversight.
That's true.
So, maybe that's one theory I had about it, but you kind of see Serena is coming apart at the seams a little bit, and she gets up the gumption to pretty much, where is the commander? Oh, he isn't here. Oh, he isn't. And you see her go into his office, and she swings those doors open. There's all those books he's not supposed to have, apparently. and you know that something is working in her head.
Right. And the fact that she stays up, she stays up until he gets home, and Offred makes it upstairs without anybody seeing.
Yep.
But she comes out right when he's coming up the stairs, and she's like, oh, long night?
Yeah, lipstick on the collar of my cloak is what she says, I think.
No, that's the next one.
Oh, okay,
Never mind. But, she's like, why don't you go to bed? And he's like, you know what? I have stuff to do. Why don't you go to bed? And this is when they go to 2 different rooms. And this is when I realized they're not even sleeping in the same bed together.
Yeah, I think this is when we finally, are they, aren't they? Yeah,
Right.
They're not.
But the next morning, at some point, we don't even know how early this is. We just know it's morning. Offred's dreaming about her past life and, happiness that she had, basically. And she's being shaken awake, and I didn't know what was happening. I thought it was going to go a whole different route.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, what is going on? Serena's shaking her awake. She's in a panic. And crazy Janine has kidnapped her baby and is about to jump off a bridge.
Right. And this is what we were talking about at the beginning, how we felt like this was the whole thing because it seems like such a build-up. Because when they take her there, you have the Putnams, you have Waterford, Serena, and obviously we have Offred, and you have a bunch of the guards there, and you have Aunt Lydia. And wasn't there another aunt there?
I want to say
yeah. But my thing was, how did she get a way to do this?
Right, because didn't they say something about it took a while for them to find her again?
Uh-huh.
And it's like, how did it take that long to find her? She made her way over there, kidnapped a baby. Is this bridge close to the Putnams? Is she out in the middle of, wherever we are? Was she trekking through the park? What happened?
I'm like, couldn't you have been in Canada by now?
Seriously, girlfriend. Yeah.
That's why I said she's not the smartest. Shouldn't have took it.
No.
I would have been out of the country, gone. They would have been looking for Michelle. Where's Michelle? Oh, no.
She wanted that baby. That baby was everything to her. And
yeah. But I think she could have done it with the baby because I felt like she was there for a minute.
Yeah.
Well, I think she's still holding out hope that Warren and she are going to be a family because she says that kind of when she's standing on the bridge and then, Warren's just trying to,
Well, she's saying that. I think part of it is to be like, you promised me that we'd be a family, that you'd leave, that you loved me. And, he's just like, I don't know what you're saying. I didn't say anything. And, his wife looks at him like, what?
He said, you're not well. And then she snaps back. I was well enough to suck your cock. And everyone's like, oh.
Right. Everybody went, oh? Oh?
I felt like,
oh my gosh, she had a moment of clarity.
I was like, shade.
Those guards are like, oh, no, you didn't.
How do they keep a straight face for some of this is what I want to know, because I would have been like, oh, damn. I mean, I could not have stood there stoically watching this. I just could not have.
Well, I love it, too, when Aunt Lydia is like, she looks at Offred, and I feel like she knows, and again, this is one of those moments, in the very first episode, where she's like, this is really screwed up. And the only person that's going to be able to help her, if anybody, is June.
Yeah, June is kind of her calming force, I think.
And I think that Aunt Lydia at this point, too, has to believe that June tried to warn her by asking, do you think she's okay? And the fact that she didn't follow through on that, she realizes, all right, I better try to make this right. And the only thing is getting June to go talk to her. And even, oh my God, and I wanted to punch him through the TV. Cause she's like, oh, just step back, let me talk to her. And Putnam got all shitty.
Oh yeah.
They did.
And I was so pissed right there. I'm like, you know what? That woman, you were a dick. I'm sorry. You just said anything and everything to make her feel comfortable enough with what you were doing that she was going to have your baby, and now she's freaking the hell out. She's on the bridge, ready to jump with that child. maybe you just shut up. And it doesn't matter what's happening, just shut it.
Exactly.
I don't care if they're going to just suddenly start dancing on the bridge naked. You shut your mouth, you're going to okay, girls, that's totally normal, whatever.
Yeah, at this point, it's by any means necessary, they're going to save that baby.
Right.
Yes, it's the baby.
Yeah, Janine, she's like, okay, maybe, if we can save her, great. If not, we got to save the baby. The baby's the priority, obviously. And so we get offered going up there, and she's like, this is going to go back to normal one day, and we're going to be laughing about how crazy this was. We're going to go drinking. We're going to do karaoke. We're going to dance. And Janine's like, who would dance with me? And she's like, well, it can't hurt that much. And then June tells her, you have to stay alive for your daughter. I'm staying alive for my daughter, and you have to give your baby a chance to grow up.
Yeah.
And that was so heartbreaking.
Yes.
Because she doesn't mention anything about her son, though.
Exactly. And we don't know if her son is still alive or not.
And that's what made me jump to the conclusion that they possibly killed her son.
It's possible.
Or that he died in the uprising or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just don't know. And, I mean, this is new content, above and beyond the book. And I remember reading, and it was on the Facebook group Maids, the discussion group that we talk about. And someone had posted an article about slavery times when women would be raped who were slaves, who would have a baby, and especially if they had a baby girl, that they would sometimes kill themselves because they did not want the same fate for their child. So they would kill themselves and their child in a similar fashion, jumping off a bridge. And I can totally see that mindset thinking, this life isn't going to be something I'd want a child to have to endure or live. But then you have June saying, you know what, we're going to get through this. There's no way this can last. You got to have hope that it's going to change. You got to give her a chance to grow up. But you think back to slavery times, did the slaves think that this was going to end at some point? Did they think that, did they have that kind of hope that it was going to end, or did they just see this as an ongoing cycle and this is just life now? I just wonder, because it seems like this is a kind of almost like a history repeating itself in, if this were real happening now.
Right.
From what I know in history and, coming from an African American, being that and talking with family members, it was like both sides. People had hope, and then there's some people that was life. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So just like here, some of these girls have hope, and some of these girls, they just think, this is what it's going to be. This is our life, and we just have to make the best of it.
Yeah. And I guess for, some women, killing the child was the acceptable thing to do in themselves to save them from the similar torment that they've gone through. And others were, well, it isn't such a bad life. Maybe things will change. They'll get better,
But then
we don't know.
When we go back and we see episode 6, what we talked about then, where they had to see the children,
yes,
heartbreaking. And even when they were trying to help talk her down, and Putnam's wife is like, oh no, we need you. You should just come back with us. It's fine. Come with us. And Janine's just like, I'm crazy, but I'm not that stupid.
Yeah. And back in slavery times, it was not uncommon for families to be split apart, for babies and children to be taken from their mothers. So I see that as a callback to that particular history, and it's something that, we should not forget.
And I think that's something that Atwood was also putting in here.
Yes.
How close it was.
She said, in an interview I either listened to or I read, she said that every single thing in her book has at some point in history actually happened in the world.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
Yeah.
That's very scary. But that's also history.
Yes.
And so we need to know our history.
Absolutely.
So, let me see. When they finally get the baby, she hands you the baby. I had that moment thinking that it was going to go one of two ways. They were going to shoot her,
Mm-hmm.
or she was actually coming down. And then the fact that she's like, okay, bye, and just flies off the bridge, it totally threw me.
I figured she was gonna jump. I figured she would.
Me too.
And then the fact that they're trying to retrieve her body, I'm like, okay, she just jumped off the bridge. She's dead, right? But
no, but they want, you know why they want to retrieve her body.
Yep.
That's another.
Even if she's in a coma, she can still produce children.
Well,
and
actually, that's been disproven, but
also because of what you see on the next episode.
Oh yeah. Well, when we see that she didn't die and she's in the hospital, Aunt Lydia, and again, this is the moment where you see she has tears in her eyes, and I don't understand Aunt Lydia. Like, that's why I need to know how she got into that position. But, she's like, you sweet, stupid girl.
Yeah.
And it's like, alright, she's in a coma. Maybe it's better if she stays in a coma. Who knows, but how long would they let her stay? But then, flash forward a bit, and we're back at the Putnam's house, and the commander's being put into a black van. Yeah, well.
And it's gotta be because of Janine ranting Raven on the bridge that there was impropriety there that caused this. And
yes, that he didn't just do what he was supposed to do. So he went well beyond their own rules.
Okay, so maybe I'm missing something because I didn't rewatch the other episodes, but who is the actual leader?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of confusing because the guy that I felt like helped bring Nick in, I felt like he was kind of like the head guy.
But it seems like Waterford is pretty high up there because they consider him almost the architect, although we know it's actually Serena that masterminded this, but
and that's why I asked, because like, is it really not a head guy? It's a committee more so, because like, these men get in trouble for like, if Waterford, I just think that, I mean, I guess like with a president you can get impeached, so, but it's not a dictatorship basically is what I'm saying.
No, it seemed to be like a committee.
Yeah.
Because
it's
you
more
can
like an oligarchy of old rich guys.
Old rich guys.
But you can't do what you want, because you would think they would do it, they'd be like, well, I can do what I want. You know what I mean? Like, but no, you get punished, and these are the ways you get punished, and I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Well, maybe they will set penalties for impropriety with your handmaiden, and maybe they have these rules in place in order to ease the minds of the wives and not so much themselves. I mean, maybe he's just getting taken off and, he'll get reprimanded, but then they'll let him go, but we don't really know.
Oh yeah, because even Serena's like, oh, he'll probably just get a reprimand. And that's when we get the men don't change comments, and it makes me wonder what kind of punishments are in place, because we've seen what's happened to the handmaids.
Right, the feet whipping and the cutting off the hands.
Still makes me cringe.
Yeah, I kind of get an idea from the next episode, the season finale.
Yeah.
What the punishment is.
The finale threw me, but we don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Yeah, no, we don't spoil it, but I'm just saying, like, I kind of got an idea, but I just thought it was interesting that they even get punished like a punishment. Like, okay, so.
Right, because I feel like so many of the wives are probably like, they would be punished more for something inconsequential compared to the commanders.
Exactly. And you've got bitch Warren, bouncing the baby, and she's clearly pissed off at him.
Right.
And she should be.
So, I mean, obviously we're going to see that next episode, what happens, how the committee comes together.
But I think it's funny that she's mad at him, but yet he has sex with her with you sitting in the bed. Like, my brain cannot I can't compartmentalize like that. I couldn't be in this world.
We've said that several times.
Like, how you mad at him for doing that? But you sat there calmly. Is it all three were in the bed? No. Get out of here.
I don't know. She might have been giving him that, you better not be enjoying this kind of look, You don't know.
True. I don't know.
It's so crazy. Like, the resolve women have to have in this world.
All around.
position from even the high wives to the handmaidens to the Jezebels to the
Marthas.
The aunt.
Yeah.
The Marthas are the kitchen people. Is that what I got? Okay.
Well, they're the housekeepers just all around. Yeah.
You know, how do I get to be a Martha? Because I just rather clean your house and have you on top of me every other night.
Well, I'd poison them.
See, I couldn't even do that because I can't remember all my recipes. I need to read those, so I'd be in trouble. I'd be like, I guess you're not getting cookies. I don't remember how to make them. Anyway. So,
cookies. Sorry.
Let's go to
let me read.
Let's go to the butcher shop, shall we? Now, this is a store we haven't seen either, so interestingly enough. Offred is kind of in her own little world, and the butcher's like, oh, I have a special cut for the commander. And slides,
just for him.
Yeah, and ends up sliding her the package, which I was surprised because she's looking like, what? Like she's so dazed, and then realizes what it is because she goes around the corner, and there's a note that she reads. First of all, words. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
And I love it because, like, here's your package. Praise be, bitch.
Yes, I loved that.
Oh.
And then we see Moira used a toilet shiv, kind of the way she escaped the Red Center, to escape Jezebels. We see her in a delivery truck uniform, and she's driving that truck, you know, and I was just like, yes, finally.
I was so happy, too, that Moira, like, stood up for herself, she did this for June. She's standing up for herself, and I feel like, okay, this is huge, because this is what's going to somehow get June out. This is what I'm thinking, and I'm hoping, and I don't know, I just hope that that's how everything turns out, but we won't know. At least we'll know something next
We
episode.
see the contents of the package in this one, don't we?
Oh, no, not yet.
That's the next one.
Not yet.
So, yes, there'll be content. So we'll talk about that soon, guys. But
yeah, I gotta listen to that. But yeah, did we talk about the end? Did we talk about the end? I can't remember. I just blacked out for a second.
About Moira driving off?
Yeah, but I wanted to say, like what Jennifer was saying earlier, like that was a bridge too.
Yes. That she was able to bring herself
her back into, hey, you're a fighter, you need to remember who you are. That was kind of a bridge in her way out of Jezebel's, I think.
Yeah. And if I was just thinking, okay, so she just got in a truck and she was able to drive off, and no one stopped her.
Well, she was in the men's clothing, and I'm just thinking, you know, she's thin and she had short hair, so that helped a lot. So she can kind of look.
She could be a very pretty guy, because I think Moira is very pretty.
Yes.
Yeah, she is. But I was also thinking, like, these are just the little flaws that I see in this world, from her just being able to go like that, and for Janine to be able to go and get that baby. But these guards, these SWAT people, aren't that great. You know?
There's just so many of them, I think, is more the problem.
Yeah, in the book, the angels, as they're called the guardians in the book, or in the show, but the angels is what they're called in the book. I mean, how many of these guys did Janine come across that she had to, like, give blowjobs to, because they're not allowed to have sex unless they're, you know, married with an Akana wife trying to have children, in order to make it from point A to point B, steal the baby, and then make it to the bridge. Because we saw Moira and June walking around, and they're like, where's her partner? What are you doing with this handmaid? And things like that. And so, did she do it at night? Is security more lax at night? Did she just have to do a lot of sexual favors in order to get to where she was going? We have no idea how crazy Janine pulled this off.
Exactly. That's where I get to where, go take your baby and go away, but I'm thinking rationally. I know.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, you did all that and you got this far. And then Moira does what she does, and it's just like, there's some chinks in the armor.
Yeah.
Well,
there's some chinks in the armor.
I think it's just getting to certain points, because like we seen in Luke's episode, you know, there was a lot of stuff that went down and trying to get out. So, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think after 3 years, and plus they're still fighting a war, and there are a lot of people who are double agents, so, there may have been a sympathetic guard who escorted her and helped her pull this off to steal the baby. We don't know.
Oh, that's true. Wow.
There is a resistance still, so...
There's a lot of questions.
Yeah, and then we have the total and complete brainwashing of these girls to the point where you have June, who's been sent to her room by Serena and stays there for 13 days, and her door doesn't lock. It doesn't even close all the way, but she dares not come out until she's told to. That's like how deep the brainwashing is. And then you see throughout the series how progressively June begins taking her own identity back after 3 years. And that's exactly what she did for Moira and Jezebel. She's like, you need to remember who you are.
Right.
And that's what she needs in order to, make her move to escape.
Wow. So this episode just was, I can't even talk about it. It was like so crazy because there was so much happening, and it seemed like a lot of this spread out further than it actually did, like we were talking. And then when you really think about it, yeah, it's like, okay, how did this happen? I don't understand. Some of it you just got to kind of take for storytelling, of course. Mm-hmm. And some of it is, what's next? So yeah. Ultimately, I thought this was really, even episode 9, this was like super powerful and pivotal.
It was very powerful, yeah.
Because we see Moira pivot, we see June, I think, pivot because this is obviously before she gets the package, talking to Janine, like, no, it's going to change. Things are happening. Like, she had hope.
She's having hope. Serena even pivots.
Yes.
In this.
And so I think it was a huge, huge episode. So ultimately, I'm saying thumbs up.
Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, thumbs up. I was even going to say, like, I felt something for Serena, because, like, when I watched the movie, it was Faye Dunaway, and I felt nothing.
Right.
It was Faye Dunaway. That lady played me well.
I didn't feel anything for anyone in the movie. I'm like, nah, I don't like any of you guys.
I thought the commander was even creepier in the movie, but that's a whole different story. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
We're going to come back.
Yeah.
By far my favorite episode of season 1.
Yes.
The bridge.
All right.
Yeah, it is mine too.
So this one went a little longer than we normally do, guys. I'm sorry, but this was a serious episode. So, Michelle, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, though?
All right. I do a podcast for the Nerd Element called the DC TV Podcast with the Nerd Element. And then you can also find me on Twitter at Comic Geek Girly and on Instagram at Comic Geek Girly.
And Jennifer?
I am of the infamous Hollow 9. That is all one word, 9 spelled with the number 9, I-N-E. We are going to launch a brand new hollow9.com soon. You can follow us on Twitter. I believe we're like Hollow9 Pod or something like that, Hollow9 Network Pod, something like that. But I am Jennifer 9, spelled 9, the number 9, I-N-E, all one word, J-E-N-N-I-F-E-R, number 9, I-N-E. So you can hit me up there and definitely check out our website, coming soon, hollow9.com, and we've got a ton of podcasts over there, and I kind of jump around on a lot of them.
And, of course, you can find fangirlzone.com, and all of our contacts are on that page. We usually live tweeting. Obviously, with this being Hulu show, it's not everybody on the same page, so we haven't really live tweeted this one. I have tweeted some of it out, and when all is said and done, I will have an episode with my husband and I getting it all from the men's point of view, because he's got some choice words about it, and I'll tell you, the first choice word was, what the hell? So it kind of went from there. So it's really interesting, at least in my opinion, to see, how the guys feel about this too. All right, so thank you guys so much for joining us. Michelle, thanks for stopping by. I always have fun talking to you too.
Always.
And can't wait to talk about more. And you will be getting the finale from us shortly. And we will have coming back from the Great White North, Miss Ingrid, who opened this with us, and she'll be closing this with us. So Thank you, everybody, for listening. And for this episode of Fangirl Zone, I'm Sean Fangirl S.
Bye.
Bye.
Until next time.